Okay, guys, it's Sunday night, and as usual, it's time to wrap up one week and move into the next. And so we're going to be moving on from the world of primarily professional sports, where we've been discussing in the last week in particular the value of players and how salary structures are determined, to now a kind of fuzzier world. And it's that fuzzy world of amateur sports, and the biggest section of amateur sports, as we know in our system here, is in college sports, big time college sports. And the prime issue I'm going to ask you to look at and read about this week is something I'm sure you've all heard of, but the commonly referred to uh, name is Title IX, that section of a federal law that requires gender equity in athletic opportunities. And when Title IX came in, completely changed the face of college sports. And with college sports being the big business that they are, you can see that it changed the face of college sports. And it still has a major impact today. And as you go through the material, I've tried to point out through some varying guest speakers, both that there are those who really support Title IX, there's those who think it was a bad idea, but like it or not, it's here and it's done some wonderful things for a lot of people. And as I said, really changed the face of college sports. And I think we have to be very, very aware of its impact and its ongoing impact. So we're going to ask you to look at that. And that's primarily what this week's discussion board is about. The other thing that we're going to be doing this week is I'm introducing you to the final exam. And the reason I'm doing that is so that you have a couple weeks to work on it. So while the link isn't there, the assignment is there. And I think I've explained it fairly well on the Blackboard shell, but just let me talk to you a little bit about it. What I'm basically asking you to do is, now that you've examined things from any number of angles, and we've looked at facilities, and we've looked at competitive balance, and we've looked at team structures, and we've looked at economic structures, and we've looked at labor markets, all that kind of stuff. And we've used some examples from the real world, and some are more theoretical. And we've also been able to have the benefit of looking at the just concluded NBA negotiations, the NFL that went on over the summer, all manner of real world situations. What I've asked you to do, given all that, is to take on the role of a consultant. And you're going to be preparing a consultant's report. And that consultant's report is, you're going to be picking from a list that you'll see on the shell of major sporting entities. And I want you to be looking at it as though you're reporting to the commissioner or the governing body of that sport. And what do you need to do strategically to make that sport vibrant, healthy, and viable for the next 10 years? So here's your chance to get your ideas out there and get them in front of the world to see. And basically, I break it down into just 4 simple questions. It's, what do you want? Why do you want it? Why don't you have it yet? And what are you willing to do to get it? Those are my 4 basic strategic planning questions. But in this case, there are 4 questions of economic strategy for that particular sporting entity. So whether it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NCAA, the Olympic Committee, the English Premier League, I've given you a list to choose from. That's your assignment. You're the consultant. It's your chance to go out and state your case for what you think is going to be important over the next 10 years. So that being said, get going on it now, because you're going to need to collect a little data and to do a super job that I think you can do. It's just going to take a couple of weeks of work, so that's why I want you to get started on it now. Once again, too, make sure you, as we go forward with that assignment, though, don't lose sight of the participation in the discussion board. This week's really got off to a great start, and it's been lively, and it's been fun as usual. Try to make sure we stay on track with the business and economic discussion. It kind of went off in its sporting direction this week, and that's, again, while it's fun, while it's interesting, and while, yes, the absolute sporting impact has a tremendous, in fact, more than maybe anything else, has an impact on the economic and business results. We need to concentrate on that economic side, not arguing over draft positioning and who's better for what position and all that kind of stuff. So remember, keep the fan hat off. Now you're a consultant. Now you're working with the owners. You're working with the leagues. You're looking at the economic health of that sporting entity. And as much as it's more fun sometimes to be a fan, I think you can have fun with this. Okay, so make sure you're in that mode, both in the discussion board and in doing the assignment. And in the case of the discussion board, try to get in and get your work in as early as you can in the week, because as I said before, if you wait until the very end, I'm the only one that's going to read it. You don't get a chance to participate with exchange with your colleagues, and that's too bad because there's a lot of good observations there. And as you can tell, if you haven't participated and been coming in a little late and everything, look at the comments I've been leaving for you about the board. It hurts, okay? I'm doing this so that, that's where we get the most economic discussion going. That's where we get most business discussion going. And that's where we get the most benefit and the most learning. All right. So if there's any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to contact me. Great job so far. And I'm looking forward to more as the week goes on and as we wrap up over these last 2 weeks. Thanks very much.